I was born in St. Petersburg, Russia, and I started on the piano first. My parents believed in kind of the value of music education, and my mother is a pianist and my father is a cellist. And so my mom started me on the piano at 4 years old, and so I was practicing and playing a little bit. And then I saw a wonderful Russian cellist, Natalia Gutman, perform on TV, of all things, and I bugged my dad and I said, I want to be like her and like you. And so I began my cello lessons at age 4.5, and so ever since I have been a cellist and never regretted it. It only taking me to better places and meet new people and make new friends. One of the important things as a musician to succeed in this business, is not only to perform very well once or twice or 3 times, but also to get re-engaged and to dream to come back to a place like this and to do well enough so that your colleagues enjoy playing with you and your colleagues want to play more with you. And this is actually something very special about this festival for me, because there's so much love and respect on stage and behind the stage among the musicians. There's really an incredible team of musicians that assemble together, and the work becomes joy, and we cannot really describe it with any other word. You can see the smiles and you can see the laughter that you see during the rehearsals, and then you see the incredible chemistry on stage.
There is let's say a core of musicians that more or less are the basis of everything. And then I have to find a balance between some people with whom I would like to play. The other balance is with the audience. The audience likes to see old faces and new faces. And then the choice is not only based on the musicianship, because to be in a festival like this, there is a very good quotation by Joseph Silverstein, who came here many times. This is a place where you have to come, you bring your ears and you leave your ego at home. And this is a fantastic phrase that I always quote, because it is the soul of chamber music. Being selfish, what would I like to play or to hear? What would the audience like to hear and to play? I mean, it's not exactly the same thing, because the audience would probably like to hear very much the great masterpieces of chamber music. But also there is the idea that the audience should be also broad, should be guided to a new repertoire, or also to pieces of the old masters that are less played. No? And so there is the balance between this and many different balances. And then I have I like in the program, in each program, I like to have a contrast. When we play in chamber music and we play a quintet, everybody comes with his or her own ideas. And of course it's natural that everybody wants somehow to realize these ideas. But one has also to be able to accept the ideas from the others, and that this mixing the different ideas and harmonizing these is what makes a live performance.
I love playing with older, more experienced players. I think that's where I learn the most. That's where I grow the most, for sure. And what's great here is I don't actually feel like Bruno is very welcoming and very open, and so I don't actually feel like I have to change what I would naturally be doing. But at the same time, I get to play with this legend, and especially a legend who plays my own instrument. It's very exciting for me. I do think it's important for musicians to play music of our time. That's one thing that, and it's everywhere. It's something that I think we all can be more aware of. And the greats are great, and obviously we'll continue to play them. But I think we also have to be looking around for who's the next great, and making sure that we're helping to promote those artists as well.
Just to add to that, I mean, I agree. I think that's absolutely essential. And I don't have any, magic solution for this, but finding ways to make those new pieces seem very accessible to the public. I mean, I think by having composers here, people knowing the composer interacting, talking about the music, I think that's absolutely essential to keeping people interested, audience members interested. And actually, even as a musician, I find it way more interesting to work with somebody who's there, that, it feels really collaborative. It's not just that, okay, I'm playing a piece of new music, but you're creating with the composer.
The second movement also was too fast.
Yeah.
So, let's see.
So how do you...
But you had metronomes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just,
Something like that.
it's like a fast minuet, whatever it is.
Schwung, schwung. What's that?
Yeah.
So I want that too.
Ah, well, that's going to
Because
improve
you
our
can
pop
land on the
pumps.
accents better than, yeah.
Yes. The sound of an instrument has to do first of all with the correct technique. With my students, for instance, I work very much that they think of using weight instead of strength. As soon as you press the string gets like this and is not able to vibrate correctly. So you create the sound by combining well the different elements, which is the point of contact, speed, and how much of this weight or pressure happens. Once you get this in a good balance, things are much easier already. And then you create your sound in your mind, in your heart, through lots of practicing and through also imagination. It's something that you have to imagine. It's something that is part of your. I mean, if you listen to all the great cellists, like let's say people of the past, like Piatigorsky or Casals, or each one had his very, very particular sound. This is something then that it is what they imagine.
Instruments, yeah. Instruments are a complicated subject, but one dear to the hearts of all string players. Wind players too, but there's a different kind of chemistry. If you line up 10 violins side by side and measure them, you will see that their body length is within about 1/8 of an inch. Most of their proportions are almost exactly the same. There are some variations in size and shape, but pretty much the size and shape of the violin has been worked out because you can't make it any better. Short course is this: if you pluck the lowest string, the G string, it vibrates, sets air in motion at that pitch. And the body of air in the instrument, in the violin, serves as a natural amplifier. The amount of air there acts as a reinforcement for exactly that lowest pitch and all pitches above. Cello, similarly, doesn't vary that much in size, in proportion. For a viola to have the same natural reinforcement, the body size would have to be so big that Andre the Giant would be the only person playing the viola these days. So every viola maker who's ever tried his hand at it is trying to subvert the laws of physics, to say, okay, I can't make it that big, but I can make it wide in the hips and small in the shoulders so they can still shift, or I can make it really thick but not so long so they can still reach first position, and they're all doing different things. And the side effect of that, or maybe the central effect of that, is that every single viola sounds completely different. Completely different. There's a whole range of sounds that we identify as viola, everything from a young duck to a freighter going by. Some violas you feel rather than hear. And so that further complicates matters, because if you're a violist and you have an ideal sound inside you that you're trying to get out of whatever you have and can afford at the time, it's very specific. And when I picked up this Amati, I realized that is the sound I've always thought a viola should have. It's dark chocolate, and particularly in the quartet where we already have two violins, you don't need a third. You need a link between the brighter sounds and the bottom end. And this provides that. I smile every time I open up that case, I'm here to tell you.
I try to maintain a certain balance between playing and teaching. Of course, teaching in a big American university it could be challenging for finding the time to perform. And I am not the person who, I take teaching very seriously, so I don't like to be on the road too much during the academic year. And I try to reserve the performing activities, let's say, more in the summer and during breaks or something like this. So I find that teaching nourishes my playing and vice versa. So that's very, very important. Each time I go back to my studio after a couple of weeks here at La Musica, I find so incredibly enriching for my students, because I'm transmitting almost instinctively what I have learned here, because I'm still learning when I come to La Musica with all these friends and marvelous colleagues. So.